Hello, I'm making this quick video to show you how to get the most out of the Quilt and Learn event. So follow along with me and hopefully you'll be able to access everything just as quick as you like. Okay, let me share my screen. Well, I suppose I am sharing. Oh, here we go. There we go. So here we are on the desktop. I'm on a desktop anyway. If you are accessing this from a tablet or a phone or a smaller laptop, it might look a little bit different and not quite as kind of broad across. But here it is. So first of all, whenever you want to get back to this page, you've just got to click on the logo, Quilt and Learn, up there, top left. And then along the top of the screen, you've got all these other links to different pages and different areas. Now, to get the most out of things, you want to be logged in. And how do you know if you're logged in already? There will be a circle up here where it says log in the second time for some reason on the right-hand side. So that will be a circle with a little face in it, and it might actually be your face if you've added one, but this is where we're going to go today. So I'm going to click on login. And it takes us to this page. And first of all, it says not yet registered. Click on the logo top left to register. And of course, that would take us back to the home page, but you are registered, I assume. And so we're going to log in. So here you would enter the email address that you had registered with. Oops, that was very quick. Let me actually just log out so that we can go back to that page. Here we go. So you would enter the email address that you had registered with. And then you would enter your password. If you haven't already set a password, then you can go down here to forgot/set password. And if we click on that, it gets you to a point where you can recover or set your password. And once you've put your email address, and of course, it's the email address you registered with, then just click on send reset info and it will send you a link to set your password. And of course, if you have any trouble with this, just go to hello@quiltandlearn.com, send me an email and I'll get back to you. But I do have a password and I have it saved here. So it's going to log me in. And this is the library page. And you can see that now there's a little circle up here on the right. That's a little head. And that shows me that I'm logged in. Also, it says across here, thank you, you are now logged in. And if we look at the URL up at the top, it says quiltandlearn.com/library. And so this is where, if you've bought the pattern bundle, for example, you can see that the pattern bundle access is here. If you bought the extended pass, then this is where you'll go for your extended pass. There is one here for the free pass, but we don't need to worry about that because there isn't anything in there. And then if you bought the VIP pass for the January event, you'll still find everything you want down here as well. So let's go back up here. So the workshops go live on July 1st and can be found on the workshops page. Okay, wonderful. Well, of course, July 1st has been and gone. So these are on the workshops page. The workshops page is also linked to up here from the top menu. And when we click on that, either of those links, we get instructions on watching the workshops. And it says you can watch them all right now. Simply keep scrolling. And they stay live until August 3rd. So I don't want anyone to panic. You've got plenty of time still. I'm recording this on July 3rd. Lots of time to get watching. So if you just want to dive in and you're not worried about the kind of Tour de France-esque stage structure, then you can scroll down here, go past all these weeks, and here is where you've got the workshops by teacher. Okay, so you find the one that you want to watch, click on watch now. So let's go with Beth Ann Williams, who's got this lovely fabric postcard. Now it says up here, scroll down to see everything, which is absolutely true. If you haven't already registered, there's a link to register. Here is all of the teachers' information and their biography. There's examples of their work. Don't these postcards look amazing? There's a description of the workshop. And then, as long as you're logged in, and remember, you can see the circle up here, so you know you're logged in, then the workshop will appear here, and you can just go and the workshop will start playing. And if you want to start the closed captions, you can turn the closed captions on. And then, like, for example, when we get here.
Yes, I don't.
here you go. There's a little closed caption across the bottom there. You can change the volume by changing this lever. You've probably also got a volume setting on your device. And you can also change the speed. So it's a funny thing, but Americans tend to talk much more slowly than English people. And so I tend to end up listening or watching a lot of videos at like 1.5 or even more speed. And so sometimes if someone was already talking quite quickly, they end up sounding a little bit like a chipmunk. But anyway, you can change the speed. And also, if you've got a really slow internet connection, then it can be quite useful to change the quality. 1080 is the highest. If you were to change it down to 540, it might be slightly pixelated on a big screen, but on a phone or a tablet, you're not going to notice the difference, and it will stream much faster and more smoothly than if you use the 1080. And then finally, you've got this little kind of zoom button here, and this makes the whole thing go full screen, just like that. And I can click
Have a long enough strip. I just saw 2 or more short
to have her go at 1.5 speed, or I can just sit back and enjoy watching the video. And I just pressed escape there to get out of the full screen. But you can also just click on this little button, which will be down the bottom, of course, to do that. And then underneath the workshops, you've got the workshop challenge. Every workshop has a challenge. And for this one, it is to share a photo of a fabric postcard you have made or received. And you can share that photo in the community. And in fact, I'll show you in a moment about the community. But then, of course, there's also, most of the teachers have a free download. And so her free download is a handout to go with the workshop. And you can access the download by clicking access download. And if you have any trouble downloading it, then you can email Bethann at her email address. And all the teachers have got their email addresses to help. And then, of course, there's all the little things at the bottom about the pattern bundle, about access for 6 months, and about the pin. Okay, so this is very much what any teacher's page looks like. And as a reminder, we got here from being on the workshops page, because let's go back there. I just clicked on workshops at the top of the screen. I scrolled down past all of these stage ones and got to the full choice of workshops with all the different teachers. There they all are, including, oh, look at this handsome Dan, choosing colors without color theory. I bet that's amazing. If you did want to space things out a bit more, or maybe haven't got as much time to watch every day, then we are doing the whole Tour de France stages thing. So stage 1 officially begins here on July 5th. And Cindy Baders is our workshop of the week. She's doing Mosaic Fusible Applique, which is quite fantastic. If you've joined a quilts along or the finish along, then stage 2 is a time to spend on that rather than giving you anything new to do. And then you can see stage 3, stage 4, stage 5, and so on. This continues. They do cycle at weekends normally as well. So it's not a God-fearing sport, I guess. Depends on your God. And then every now and again, there is a rest day. So July 15th is a rest day, and July 21st is a rest day as well. And then as the men's Tour de France finishes here on, where are we? I think it's July 27th. The women's Tour de France kicks off on July 26th. So we've actually got sort of double events for the 26th and 27th of July. Then the Tour de France Les Femmes, or pour les Femmes, or just Femmes, I guess, continues for the week, because of course the women only get a week. Don't get me started. And they finish on August 1st. That is a Friday, and I didn't want to have to try and wrap things up on Saturday, Sunday, because I know a lot of you have more time during the week. So our closing ceremony is actually on the 4th, which is a Monday, August 4th. And you can click on this and it will take you through to register for one of the live events. Now, before I show you all of that, I want to ensure that you've seen this. Download our checklist. So this is also on the home page as well, and it will take you through to a PDF document. It may download it to your desktop or your folders, your files. But on here, I've got it set so it automatically opens up in a PDF reader. So here is the Tour de Fabric checklist. You've still got links here to watch the workshops, join a quilt along, or go straight into the community. But you've also got each of the workshops in the stage order, and you can add a little tick when you've watched a workshop. Here are the workshops. You can add a little tick on the end column when you've watched a workshop, or you can add a little tick in the middle column when you've downloaded that freebie. And so you can see all of these. So all the teachers that are teaching workshops are on their stages. And then, of course, there are some designers taking part as well who are hosting quilt-alongs rather than teaching workshops. But a lot of them also have downloads for you to download. So we've got additional bonuses from them at the end as well. So that's all of those downloads and things. And that will also be in your weekly email, which will be arriving on Saturday each week on the start of the week, and where you can be reminded about what workshops are coming up this week if you're doing the stages. Now, I mentioned several things during all that. Let's talk about live events first. We had an opening party, and we've had one trunk show already, and those recordings are available on the YouTube channel. You've just got to click on that link and you'll go there. Now here we've got all the live events that are coming up. So the next one is July 10th. In fact, there are two on July 10th because I didn't want to put any around the 4th because it is a big deal. I know a lot of people go away and spend time with family and stuff. So we've got the next two events on the 10th and judging discussion on 14th. And then there's a whole load more trunk shows as well, the 17th, the 21st, and then also the 30th. Now, there are a couple of other little events going on in here. One of them is this full day workshop with me, making a sew together bag, which I showed off in the opening party. But if you click on this link, you'll see it. And then, of course, there's another panel on what it's like to run a quilt along. Now, there's a few things to notice here. First of all the times are shown in my time zone because this is the time zone I'm in. But it says down here how to see events in your time zone. And essentially, you just click on this bar here, and then you can go in. So let's say that I was in Paris for the Tour de France. Oh, it's not going to bring up Paris. There we go. France. Oh, let me press return. That's why it's not doing anything. And here we are. It's got a time zone suggestion for France. So now if I click on that, it's going to update and show me all the times in Central European summertime. Okay, and you can do that. You know, let's say that I was in where are we? Like New York on the East Coast of America. Then I can add that in and click return, and now it's showing me all the times in, there you go, in Eastern time instead of Pacific time. Okay, so you can, if you have a digital calendar, you can add all these events to your calendar by clicking on subscribe here. And then depending on the type of calendar, you can just click and it will add all of these events to your calendar, and you can remove them, of course, anytime, delete individual ones. Or if you just want to record an individual event, you can just click on this little plus sign here. Now, if you want to register for the event and get reminders, you can click on the event, and then it's got this register now link. Okay. And also, if you click read more, it's got all this information about who exactly is going to be in that event. So definitely worth a look. And if you register on Zoom, very simple, it's name and email, it's not a lot of information. It will send you a reminder on I think it's a week before, the day before, and on the day at the time. So you can't possibly forget or miss the event. But that's optional. So there's registration for each thing there. And there's a reminder down here of how to add events to your calendar, and a reminder that you can watch recordings on the YouTube channel, which is up here. And in fact, if I just quickly go there and show you that, if you're ever in doubt on YouTube, you can search for @QuiltandLearn. Wait, this is not the @QuiltandLearn channel. What happened there? Maybe it's because I'm logged in as someone else right now. Let's try and find it. Here we go. I'll have to double check that link. Here I am, boldly going in the recording from yesterday. And then there is the opening party down here where I was doing my cycling as we went along. And then there's a whole load of other videos here, and there's a whole load of content here, which is interviews with other people. And you also get to see my various hairstyles. There's only 3. So, you know, it's not too exciting, but there we go. And so there's interviews. In fact, Ali Ride is one of the quilt-along hosts this time. And there's all sorts of interesting people. James Humecki is a somatic practitioner, very interesting. So yes, lots of options there for things to see, but I will double check that link and make sure it's okay. So that was the live events, and that is of course up here in the top menu, live events. We looked at the workshops. I want to just have a quick look at the quilt-alongs. You can still join the quilt-alongs, and each quilt-along, it says it here, has its own group within the private community where you can have a look at what everyone's up to, what fabrics they're choosing, how far they've got, all that kind of thing. There are, is it 16 quilt-alongs? Here we go, 50. Here we are. So one of them is the finish along. Look at this stunning character there, look. And so, as I said, you can still sign up for all of these. You do need to buy a pattern for most of them, but some of them, like Ali Rides, for example, there is a pattern coupon in the digital goodie bag, which we'll have a look at in a moment. I love this Astral one. Honestly, if I had time to sign up for one of them while running this event at the same time, this is the one that I would sign up. And I think it's fused applique, but what a stunning design. You can just imagine. I think those are batiks that she's used in that example. I would probably use polka dots because I always use polka dots. But there we go. But anyway, if you want to join the finish along, then there's of course finishing something that you've already got, and we're going to be kicking that off probably either Saturday or Sunday, maybe Monday. And getting started on that properly. So this is the quilt-along page where you can find details of all the quilt-alongs that are going on. I will very quickly show you the pattern bundle. The pattern bundle is the official Tour de Fabric pattern bundle, and you get £18. It's actually 19. There's another one I still must add before we get very much older. Plus a bonus 5 coaching workshop series. And this is usually sold for $700. In fact, well, much more than $700. And you get it all for $49. So you can come and look at this page. I'm not going to do a hard sell on you, of course, but these are all the patterns. You don't get dog. And there's an amazing free motion quilting handbook plus that 5+ coaching bundle. And that is all if you click patterns in the top menu of that Quilt Online page. Here it is, patterns, just up here. I must mention the prizes. That's another page. So there is a trophy, a genuine Tour de Fabric trophy, which I don't actually have yet because I'm waiting until I know the winner's name, and then it will be engraved with your name and shipped wherever you are in the world. And I'll talk about how you win the trophy in just a minute. And then, of course, we have 3 wonderful prize packages from our sponsors, $550 of products from Baby Lock, including more than $400 of Madeira thread, which is phenomenal. $177 of amazing Aurifil thread, which is divine. And then a huge box of pre-cuts from Bernatec's that have some absolutely stunning bits and pieces. And in fact, Aurifil also had a great offer in our digital goodie bag. So it's a good time to go and take a look at that. And I can either click on this link or up at the top again, digital goodie bag. Now, if you're not logged in, the digital goodie bag link won't show. All right, so just if you can't see it, that's another indicator that you're not logged in. But let's go there now, digital goodie bag. So Aurifil have got these 2 things. One is a free digital bundle, and there's a mini quilt, there's a thread reference card, and there's a swatch book for you to download and use. And then they're also giving 20% off to all their customers in the US. Apologies for it being just in the US. And then you've got all of these amazing discounts. Look at this, 25% off rulers. There's free patterns, there's coupons, there's, you know, another coaching bundle. There's a free pair of tiny snips, which I think is pretty awesome. If you've seen Elizabeth de Cruz's amazing Pajagi course, Pajagi 4 Ways, she has 50% off her improv course, which she talked about actually in yesterday's download. And look at this, fantastic. Who's this bee lady? She sounds awesome. But yes, there's 50% off there as well. So lots of digital goodiness to come across there. There are, of course, a couple of other pages, reviews and FAQs, which I'm not going to bother you with. And then a what is this, which explains the event. The last page I want to go to is, of course, the community page. And I'm going to post this video on this page. And it already says how to add a photo in the community, which is just this little video here, which doesn't really have any audio. It has the sound of me occasionally clicking. But you can access the community here just by going click here. And then, of course, you can add a bookmark or just copy and paste to your notepad or something. My view looks very slightly different. Excuse me. My view looks very slightly different to what is the music going on? Sorry. Emergency. So my view looks very slightly different to yours because I'm the admin, and so I've got little prompts here to try and sell you things and whatnot. There are a couple of pinned posts, one about editing which notifications you receive, because you can end up receiving a lot of emails from this. Oh, isn't this lovely? Look, so Janice watched, this is a coincidence, I didn't set this up. Janice watched my bees color theory workshop earlier and has chosen this photo. Isn't that gorgeous? Now, this is actually an entry, I think, into the challenge, but she's posted it in the general discussion. Not to worry, we will make sure. So Devon saying, where is this video? And there's other people with finish alongs. Oh my goodness, look, she's already done. I think she must have been doing the binding. Amazing. And there's introductions and so on, lots of things in here. Now, to navigate the community, what you can do is you've got latest here, which will just give you, it's kind of like going on Facebook, it will give you a feed of what's all the latest stuff. There's also challenges, which I'll look at in a moment. There's the leaderboard, which I'll also look at in a moment. And then you won't see the teachers lounge, but there's the attendee discussion channels. So there's all these different channels, one for each quilt along. And then, of course, there's always also one for the finish along, which is wonderful. And then there's also a general one, just in case you want to post in there. There's a stash swap in case anybody wants to do that. There's the introductions and there's general discussion as well. So you can jump into any of these. When they've got a little purple dot on them, that means that there's something new since you last looked at it. And there is actually also a Kajabi Communities app, which you can download and then see all of this stuff on your phone. You will need to log in, but you can access just the community, not the whole site on your phone. Oh, look, so Elizabeth's just posted the first part of her drift quilt along, which had these lovely kind of mesmerizing, kind of like an MC Escher pattern doves, I think they must be on, or at least that's how I see them, on them. So yes, and there's all sorts of content going on. There's a different Elizabeth here with her Pajagi, and someone's posted the fabric that they're going to use, which is fantastic. So there's lots of stuff going on in here. Now, I said that I would come back to the challenges. So let's have a look at those. Of course, they're here on the right-hand side as well, the screen. You won't have the add challenge button because that's just an admin thing. Each time there's a stage that is a quilt along progress stage, there is a challenge for that. So the first one is coming up on July 6th. And you just to win this challenge or to enter this challenge, and you can see there isn't anyone that's entered it already. You just need to post a photo or just share an update. Actually, it doesn't even need to be a photo. It can just be a text update of where you've got to, and that earns you 50 points on the leaderboard. So there's a challenge for each stage. There is a quilt along or finish along progress stage. There is also, well, there were 2 introductory challenges, which I think have closed now. Or they might still be open. You'll find out for yourselves. And then there's also the 18 teacher challenges, and you can click to see them all. There's a challenge for each workshop that you watch. And so, for example, this one, designing a pixel quilt with coal. Excuse me. The challenge, which is also on his teacher page, is to share a photo of what you have made using this pixel technique or the image that you plan to make. So there's all sorts of challenges there. If I put in, bring up another one, I know that someone had entered this. And in fact, we've got 7 people who have signed up for this one. Share the name or photo of your favorite wine or other drink. And so we've got various people's answers here. Cabernet Franc that my son-in-law makes. Oh, that sounds very nice. So yes, and there's also, yeah, there's one down here. I don't drink alcohol. Ocean spray, cranberry, pineapple. And so all these people have won 50 points. And what do points mean? Prizes, probably. But if we go to the leaderboard, you can see the leaderboard is in 3 sections. Look at me, I'm doing so well here, 752 points. Sadly, I can't win anything with that. But it's split up into weekly, monthly, and all time. These are set by the system. I can't edit these. So what will happen is on July 31st, I am going to write down how many points the top 10 have got. On July 31st. And then on August 3rd, I will write down how many points people have got in the weekly competition as well, and add the 2 together. And that will give me the kind of podium places, the top 3 for the Tour de Fabric 2025. The winner will get that fantastic trophy. Looks like Becky Croft is doing pretty well so far. So, you know, we'll have to keep an eye out and see whether it's the same top 3. Devon was obviously active earlier in the month, but hasn't perhaps been as active this week, which is why she's 3 on this one. And Belline is 3rd on the weekly one. But anyway, I'll explain this again as we go on. And there's probably some people over here on the all-time chart who are still from the January event that was back in January this year. But this leaderboard is where you'll be able to see like who's in the running. And I believe if you're not on here, it will also indicate which place you are in the list, or at the very least, it will give you your point score. So I think, did I cover everything? I feel like I covered everything. Oh no, that will take me to the back end, which you do not want to see. Let me take that away. So there we go. Here I am in my gracious bedroom, which is not quite mine, but there we go. That was everything on the Tour de Fabric. I hope that helped explain everything. If you do have any problems or you get stuck, then do take a look at the FAQ page. If it's not on there, then of course, just email me, hello@quiltandlearn.com. And I'll get back to you usually within 24 hours, but generally as soon as I can. All right, enjoy the event.